Tantra explains consciousness by two primary functions that help us understand how it operates. Um, so the idea of non-duality is that everything is a unified whole. I'm sure you've heard the ideas of that we're all one before. This is pointing to that non-dual truth. There is something that connects all of this as a singular experience, and that is defined as consciousness. And so consciousness by itself is unified. It's unity. It's one whole thing. But because our mind operates still in duality, we kind of still see a this or that. One of the ways that we try to understand it, because we're coming from a place of duality, is that even though it's one consciousness, we can look at two different functions of consciousness and try to explain them, because to us, they will initially appear to be separate. And so there are two primary functions. One is sometimes referred to as the witness or the observer. And in Tantra, this is referred to as the Shiva principle, a masculine principle. But it is this aspect of consciousness that is aware of what is happening. It's aware of the experiences that it's having. It's aware of itself. And I refer to it oftentimes as the witness, and that's Shiva. And then there is the feminine principle or the Shakti principle, and that is sometimes referred to as the power of consciousness. So there's the witnessing aspect of consciousness, and then there's the power of consciousness, which is the vibrating energy that causes all the manifestations to arise. And so part of the exploration in Tantra is playing with these two principles of Shiva and Shakti, of the witness and everything arising in consciousness as vibration. And what begins to happen over time by contemplating these aspects is that we begin to reduce the multitude of ideas, of concepts, of all the different beings and separations and different forms of life and plants and animals and cellular biology, and like all of the minutia of all the things that we can say are distinct things that arise in creation, which do still exist in creation, and start to think of it as being two different things that we're playing with. We're playing with our awareness as being the witnessing aspect of things, and then we're playing with the observation of all of those different things arising as being energy. So that's one of the things that unifies all of the distinct things that exist, is that it's all vibrating energy. There's really only vibrating energy. And yes, we're still aware of there being different people and things and experiences and different life forms and all that kind of stuff. But we start to play with it at the level of consciousness as the observer and the vibrating energy that creates the experiences that we're having. And so by embracing the principles of non-duality in this way, in non-dual Tantra, we can begin to dissolve the inner conflicts between spirituality and worldly life. We no longer need to choose between one or the other, but can integrate both aspects harmoniously. So this integration leads to a profound sense of wholeness, where we recognize the inherent divinity in ourselves, others, and all of creation. And so as we embrace tantric practices with the proper understanding, everything in life becomes an opportunity for deepening our spiritual awareness. Instead of escaping the world to find spiritual reality, we seek to investigate and discover the presence of spiritual truth operating within everything that we experience. We explore the core elements of our experience of consciousness, of Shiva, the witness of ourself as the one who experiences or perceives the world, and also the Shakti principle, which is vibration or the dynamic power of consciousness that gives rise to the experiences of the world. And so as we explore reality from the perspective of Shiva and Shakti, we also embrace the metaphor that Tantra offers for us to rediscover our true self, which is the reunification of Shiva and Shakti. That Shiva and Shakti, even though we're describing them as two functions, two things, one's witnessing, one's the dynamic power of everything vibrating, that ultimately they are the one consciousness. We're just talking about two different aspects to understand them. But by reunifying them, we come to understand that it is the experience of consciousness itself to be both the observer, to be the thing that is observed, and also to be the experience of all of it. That those three things all come together, and that without one aspect of either Shiva or Shakti, nothing can exist.